Along the shores of the Upper Peninsula, you will find over 40 lighthouses, most built in the mid-1800s. Today, several lights still guide ships safely into shore. About a dozen are open for public tours, and a few are now bed and breakfast. Michigan has more lighthouses than any other state, and they attract visitors from across the world. What is it about lighthouses that fascinates so many? Their architecture, history, location? This summer, we're on a lighthouse tour across the UP to find out. First up, the Eagle Harbor Lighthouse, one of 10 lighthouses located in the Keweenaw Peninsula, and one of the easiest to find.
Easy to get to, you don't have to take a boat, you don't have to drive through the woods.
It's located right in the town of Eagle Harbor.
Welcome to the Eagle Harbor Lighthouse in Eagle Harbor. This was built in 1871. It replaced another lighthouse that was only 20 years old, and they decided to take it down. It's fun to watch the freighters go by, and that is why we are here, because the lighthouse helped the early copper miners get their product out and also their immigrants in. We have had 22 different lighthouse keepers, and they all lived in this building. And we had 2 assistant lighthouse keepers, and they stayed usually in town in some of the boarding houses. Later on in the 1930s, they moved 2 of our other buildings here so that they could stay on site. This was the lighthouse you wanted to be at because there were schools in town, boarding houses. There was a bowling alley here in Eagle Harbor and schools. So this was a duty station that you wanted to stay at because you could have friends, you were not isolated. We are in what used to be the woodshed. Now it is the kitchen. When they put a furnace in the basement in 1907, they made this the kitchen. Everything in the lighthouse is donated because the last lighthouse keeper took all of his things with him. Jerry McKinney was his name, and he lived in here until 1982. And then we've got the parlor. This is usually set up like a dining room. We usually have the table set up with dishes and flowers in the middle of the table and tablecloth, you know, like they're going to have a meal. And because really our big display room is the lens room. This is our number 4 Fresnel lens. It came from the lower entry on the Keweenaw because our number 4 Fresnel lens that was here has disappeared somehow. So we have this one now. We had to encase it in an enclosure so that nobody could touch it because it is quite valuable. This is our third light here in Eagle Harbor. Our first one was this one, the Fresnel lens. Our second one was a beacon for an airplane beacon. We had red and white. Our signal is red and white every 10 seconds. We continue to have that signal. Copper Harbor is green. And our third light that is up in our tower right now is a very modern looking light, actually smaller than our Fresnel lens is.
A Fresnel lens uses a series of stepped pieces of glass or prisms to capture and refract light.
The prisms would focus the light into one direction so that it could go out and you could see it farther.
Lights are rated by size, with a first order light being the largest and sixth order the smallest.
Yeah, this is a number 1. Our light is a number 4. A number 1 is usually located on the oceans. There are no number 1s on the Great Lakes. This one is located in Oregon. Most of the ones on the Great Lakes are number 3s and 4s. Over here was our backup light when we had the airport beacon, and it was located outside because it did not have any of the electrical connections that could go on its own. So this is battery operated. And when they took our airport beacon out, they took this out also, and the Coast Guard let us have it to display. And it does light up every 10 seconds. And this is our tower. Now these stairs are in many different lighthouses. You know, you'll see them. You can see that they're all coming off the center post. This is the lighthouse keeper's room, set up as it would have been. In the early days, of course, they had to have a stove like this attached to the chimney because they didn't get a furnace until 1907. The Historical Society has owned and run this building since 1982. Almost all the lighthouses are automated now. And again, our signal is red and white every 10 seconds. And we are a working light, so visitors are not allowed in the light room and the lens room up at the top of the tower, which disappoints many of them, I'm sorry to say.
Ginny was kind enough to give all you Discovering viewers a peek at the light.
And there's our light. It was put in July of 1999.